Namaste everyone, this is Dr. Pratibha KS. Today I am presenting Institutional Accreditation Manual for affiliated or constituent UG and PG colleges. Okay, so here we are going through NAC for quality and excellence in higher education. Okay, I'm giving here. However, the NAC has given the manual for self-study report affiliated or constituent colleges. No, same as it is I'm giving you here. Okay. This is the preface. Okay. Here you can go through the contents. Introduction, guidelines for assessment and accreditation. Today we'll be going through introduction, vision and mission, core, values, okay, assessment and accreditation of higher education institutions, revised assessment and accreditation, A&A framework, focus of assessment, quality indicator framework, in short QIF, description, eligibility for assessment and accreditation by NAC, the assessment process, procedural details, assessment outcome, calculation of institutional CGPA, mechanism for institutional appeals, reassessment, subsequent cycles of accreditation, fee structure and other financial implications, getting ready for submission of self-study report, that is SSR, mandatory disclosure on HEI's website. Okay, but today, let's see how much possible that much I'll be able to cover today's content. Okay. Next section B, data requirements for self-study report, that is SSR. In that, executive summary, profile of the college, extended profile of the college, quality indicator framework, data templates or documents, quantitative metrics. Okay. At the end, section C, appendix, that is glossary and notes, appendix 2, abbreviations, appendix 3, guidelines to opt out non-applicable metrics, appendix 4, optional metrics for affiliated or constituent colleges. Okay, so this is all about the guidelines for assessment and accreditation. Every day, one by one, I'll be able to reveal. Okay, now let us go through section A, guidelines for assessment and accreditation. Okay, this section presents the NAC framework for assessment and accreditation based on the core values and criteria for assessment and key indicators. Further, it details out the procedures for institutional preparation for filling the self-study report online, peer assessment, and the final outcome of accreditation. The procedure for reassessment mechanism for institutional appeals and accreditation of subsequent cycles are also presented. Okay, hope you know the full form of NAC, that is National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Okay, most of the time they'll say C as committee. It's not committee, it's council. Okay, now let us go through the next slide. Here we can see the introduction. India has one of the largest and diverse education systems in the world, right? Privatization, widespread expansion, increased autonomy, and introduction of programs in new and emerging areas have improved access to higher education. At the same time, it has also led to widespread concern on the quality and relevance of the higher education, right? To address these concerns, the National Policy on Education, in short, NPE, during the year 1986, and the Program of Action, that is in short POA, during the year 1992, spelled out strategic plans for the policies, advocated the establishment of an independent national accreditation agency. Okay, consequently, the National Assessment and Accreditation Council was established in 1994 as an autonomous institution of the University Grants Commission, UGC full form, University Grants Commission, with its headquarters in Bengaluru. The mandate of NAC as reflected in its vision statement is in making quality assurance an integral part of the functioning of higher education institutions. Okay, another keyword here, that is HEIs. HEIs means higher education institutions. Okay, the NAC functions through its General Council, we'll say in short GC, and EC, that is Executive Committee, comprising educational administrators, policymakers, and senior academicians from across section of Indian higher education system. Okay, the chairperson of the UGC is the president of the GC of the NAC. The chairperson of the EC is an eminent academician nominated by the president of GC NAC. The director is the academic and administrative head of NAC and is the member secretary of both the GC and EC, in addition to the statutory bodies that steer its policies and core staff to support its activities. NAC is advised by the advisory and consultative committees constituted from time to time. Okay, now let us go through vision and mission. The vision of NAC is to make quality the defining element of higher education in India through a combination of self and external quality evaluation, promotion, and sustenance initiatives. Okay, the mission statements of the NAC aim at translating the NAC's vision into action plans and define NAC's engagement and endeavor as given below. Okay, to arrange for periodic assessment and accreditation of institutions of higher education or units thereof are specific academic programs or projects. Okay, to stimulate the academic environment for promotion of quality in teaching, learning, and research in higher education institutions. Also, to encourage self-evaluation, accountability, autonomy, and innovations in higher education. To undertake quality-related research studies, consultancy, and training programs. Further, to collaborate with other stakeholders of higher education for quality evaluation, promotion, and sustenance. Okay. Striving to achieve its goals as guided by its vision and mission statements. NAC primarily focuses on assessment of the quality of higher education institutions in the country. The NAC methodology for assessment and accreditation is very much similar to that followed by quality assurance, that is QA agencies across the world, and consists of self-assessment by the institution along with external peer assessment organized by NAC. Okay, now let us go through core values. Throughout the world, higher education institutions, in short HEIs, function in a dynamic environment. The need to expand the system of higher education, the impact of technology on the educational delivery, the increasing private participation in higher education, and the impact of globalization, including liberal, cross-border, and transnational educational imperatives, have necessitated marked changes in the Indian higher education system. Okay, these changes and the consequent shift in values have been taken into cognizance by NAC while formulating the core values. Accordingly, in order to ensure external and internal validity and credibility, the QA process of NAC is grounded within a value framework, which is suitable and appropriate to the national context. The accreditation framework of NAC is thus based on 5 core values. Here you can see in detail about all the core values. The first one is contributing to national development. Okay, then fostering global competencies among students. Third one, inculcating a value system among students. Fourth one, promoting the use of technology. Fifth one, quest for excellence. Okay, so these are some of the 5 core values. Now let us go through the first one, contributing to national development. Okay, most of the higher education institutions have a remarkable capacity to adapt to changes and at the same time pursue the goals and objectives of that they have set forth for themselves. Contributing to national development has always been an impact goal of Indian HEIs. The role of higher education institutions is significant in human resource development and capacity building of individuals to cater to the needs of the economy, society, and the country as a whole, thereby contributing to the development of the nation. Serving the cause of social justice, ensuring equity, and increasing access to higher education are a few ways by which higher education institutions can contribute to the national development. Okay, it is therefore appropriate that the assessment and accreditation, in short A&A, process of NAC looks into the ways, okay, where HEIs have been responding to and contributing towards national development. Okay, now let us go through second core value, fostering global competencies among students. The spiraling developments at the global level also warrant that NAC includes in its scope of assessment skill development of students on par with their counterparts elsewhere in the world. With liberalization and globalization of economic activities, the need to develop skilled human resource of a high caliber is imperative. Consequently, the demand for internationally acceptable standards in higher education is evident. Therefore, the accreditation process of NAC needs to examine the role of HEIs in preparing the students to achieve core competencies to face the global challenges successfully. Okay, this requires that the higher education institutions to be innovative, creative, and entrepreneurial in their approach. Towards achieving this, HEIs may establish collaborations with industries, network with the neighborhood agencies or bodies, and foster a closer relationship between the world of competent learning and the world of skilled work. Third core value, inculcating a value system among students. Although skill development is crucial to the success of student in the job market. Okay, skills are of less value in the absence of appropriate value system. Okay, the higher education institutions have to shoulder the responsibility of inculcating desirable value systems among students. In a country like India, with cultural pluralities and diversities, it is essential that the students imbibe the appropriate values, okay, commensurate with social, cultural, economic, and environmental realities at the local, national, and universal levels. Whatever be the pluralities and diversities that exist in the country, there is a persisting concern for inculcating the core universal values like truth and righteousness, apart from other values emphasized in the various policy documents of the country. Right? This is very, very important. The seeds of values such as cooperation and mutual understanding during the early stages of education have to be restarted and re-emphasized at the higher education also through appropriate learning experiences and opportunities. The NAC assessment therefore examines how these essential and desirable values are being inculcated in the students by the higher education institutions. Now let us go through the fourth core value, that is promoting the use of technology. Most of the significant developments that one can observe today can be attributed to the impact of science and technology, right? While the advantages of using modern tools and technological innovations in the day-to-day life are well recognized. The corresponding changes in the use of new technologies for teaching, learning, and governance of HEIs leaves much to be desired. Technological advancement and innovations in educational transactions have to be undertaken by all HEIs to make a visible impact on academic development as well as administration. At a time when our educational institutions are expected to perform as good as their global partners, significant technological innovations have to be adopted. Traditional methods of delivering higher education have become less motivating to a large number of students. To keep pace with the developments in other spheres of human endeavor, HEIs have to enrich the learning experiences of their students by providing them with the state of the art educational technologies. The campus community must be adequately prepared to make the use of information and communication technology. In short, we'll say ICT facility or ICT optimally they should use in their college. Conscious effort is also needed to invest in hardware and to orient the faculty suitably. In addition to using technology as a learning resource, managing the activities of the institution in a technology-enabled way will ensure effective institutional functioning. Okay, this is very, very important. One has to make their own plan regarding this particular ICT facility. If the proper strategy as planned for ICT facility to utilize that in optimal condition, definitely there will be a success. For example, documentation and data management in the HEIs are areas where the process of assessment by NAT has made a significant impact. Okay, moving towards electronic data management and having institutional website to provide ready and relevant information to stakeholders are desirable steps in this direction. In other words, effective use of ICT in HEIs will be able to provide ICT literacy to the campus community using ICT for resource sharing and networking, as well as adopting ICT enabled administrative processes. Therefore, NAC accreditation look at how the higher education institutions have put in place their electronic data management systems and electronic resources and their access to internal and external stakeholders, particularly the student community. Okay. Now let us go through quest for excellence. Contributing to nation building and skills development of students, HEIs should demonstrate a drive to develop themselves into centers of excellence. Excellence in all that they will contribute to the overall development of the system of higher education of the country as a whole. This quest for excellence could start with the assessment or even earlier by the establishment of the steering committee for the preparation of the self-study report. In short, SSR of an institution. Another step in this direction could be the identification of the strengths and weakness in the teaching and learning process as carried out by the institution. The five core values as outlined above from the foundation for assessment of institutions that volunteer for accreditation by NAC. The HEIs may also add their own core values to do these in conformity with the goals and mission. Okay. So now let us go through revised assessment and accreditation framework, that is in short A&A framework. The revised assessment and accreditation framework was launched in July 2017. It represents an explicit paradigm shift, making it ICT enabled, objective, transparent, scalable, and robust. Okay, the shift is from qualitative peer judgment to data-based quantitative indicator evaluation with increased objectivity and transparency. Okay, towards extensive use of ICT, conforming scalability and robustness. In terms of simplification of the process, drastic reduction in number of questions, size of the report, visit days, and so on. In terms of boosting benchmarking as quality improvement tool, this has been attempted through comparison of NAC indicators with other international QA frameworks. Okay, introducing pre-qualifier for peer team visit as 25% of system generated score. Introducing some generated scores, okay, that is system generated scores, in short SGS, with combination of online evaluation about 70% and peer judgment about 30%. Okay, also in introducing the element of third party validation of data, okay, in providing appropriate differences in the metrics, weightages, and benchmarks to universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated or constituent colleges. Okay, in revising several metrics to bring in enhanced participation of students and alumni in the assessment process. So this is all about revised assessment and accreditation framework. Further, let us go through focus of assessment. The NAC continues with its focus on quality culture of the institution in terms of quality initiatives, quality sustenance, and quality enhancement as reflected in its vision, organization, operations, and process. Experience has uh, reiterated that these can be ascertained either by on-site observations and or through the facts and figures about the various aspects of institutional functioning. The revised manual places greater confidence in the latter as reflective of internal institutional process. In line with NAC's conviction that quality concerns are institutional, quality assessment better quality assessment can better be done through self-evaluation. Okay, the self-evaluation process and the subsequent preparation of the self-study report to be submitted to NAC. Okay, that involves the participation of all stakeholders like management, faculty members, administrative staff, students, parents, employers, community, and alumni. Further, while the participation of internal stakeholders, that is management, staff, and students, provide credibility and ownership to the activity and could lead to newer initiatives, interaction with the external stakeholders, facilities, okay, the development process of the institution and their educational services. Overall, the QA is expected to serve as a catalyst for institutional self-improvement promote innovation, and strengthen the urge to excel. It is attempt to enlarge the digital coverage of the entire process of A&A. Okay, this it is believed will not only accelerate the process but also bring in greater objectivity into the process. The possible differentiation required in respect of HEIs, which are going for subsequent cycles of A&A, appropriate scope has been provided in the process. This will allow the HEIs to appropriately represent the developments they have attempted after previous A&A cycle. Okay. Now let us go through here quality indicator framework. In short, that is QIF. Let us go through the quality indicator framework description. Okay. The criteria-based assessment forms the backbone of A&A process of NAAC. The 7 criteria represent the core functions and activities of HEI. In the revised framework, not only the academic and administrative aspects of institutional functioning, but also the emerging issues have been included. The 7 criteria to serve the basis for assessment of higher education institutions are: first one, criteria 1, that is curricular aspects. Okay, then criterion 2, that is teaching, learning, and evaluation. Third criteria, research, innovation, and extension. Fourth criteria, for infrastructure and learning resources. Fifth criterion, student support and progression. Sixth criterion, governance, leadership, and management. Seventh criterion, institutional values and best practices. So these are the 7 criteria you must keep in your mind. Every department has to submit their answers according to all these 7 criteria. Under each criterion, a few key indicators are identified. These key indicators, in short KIs, are further delineated as metrics which actually elicit responses from the HEIs. Okay, and these 7 criteria along with their key indicators are given in the next slide. Okay, explicating the aspects they represent. Before that, let us go through here weightages across key indicators. Okay, whereas here you can see in the first column, criteria, key indicators, universities, autonomous colleges. Okay, here affiliated or constituent colleges, UG marks, and here you can see the PG marks. Okay, so here you can see the curricular aspects. In this, you have some of the key indicators like 1.1, curriculum design and development, 1.1, curricular planning and implementation, 1.2, academic flexibility, 1.3, curriculum enrichment, 1.4, feedback system. So criteria 1, in your college, if you have universities, it's 150, autonomous colleges, it's 150, affiliated or constituent colleges, UG, 100 marks, PG, if it is there, 100 marks. Okay, so any one category you'll be using. Then criteria 2, teaching, learning, and evaluation. Key indicators 2.1, student enrollment and profile. 2.2, catering to student diversity. 2.3, teaching learning process. 2.4, teacher profile and quality. 2.5, evaluation process and reforms. 2.6, student performance and learning outcomes. 2.7, student satisfaction survey. Okay, this criterion. 2, if your college is, which college is universities, then 200 marks you are appearing. Then autonomous colleges, 300 marks. Then affiliated colleges, UG, 350 marks. Affiliated to affiliated PG colleges, then it's 350. Then third criteria, research innovations and extension. 3.1, promotion of research and facilities. 3.2, resource of mobilization for research. 3.3, innovation ecosystem. 3.4, research publications and awards. 3.5, consultancy. 3.6, extension activities. 3.7, collaboration. Okay. Okay. And criteria 3, if your college, which is universities, 250, autonomous colleges, 150, UG colleges affiliated, 110, college with PG, 120 marks. Okay. Next, fourth criteria, infrastructure and learning resources. Key indicators 4.1, physical facilities. 4.2, library as a learning resource. 4.3, IT infrastructure. 4.4, maintenance of campus infrastructure. Okay. Here, if your college comes under universities, 100 marks, autonomous college, 100 marks. If your college is affiliated or constituent of UG, 100 marks, PG, 100 marks. Okay. Fifth criteria, student support and progression. 5.1, student support. 5.2, student progression. 5.3, student participation and activities. 5.4, alumni engagement. Okay, here again, if your college comes in universities, it's 100, autonomous college 100, whereas affiliated college or a constituent college, UG means 140, whereas PG that is 130. Okay. On governance, leadership, and management. That is 6.1, institutional vision and leadership. 6.2, strategy development and deployment. 6.3, faculty empowerment strategy. 6.4, financial management and resource mobilization. 6.5, internal quality assurance system. Okay, all this which comes under the criteria 6. Okay, and here you can see 100 marks, here 100 marks, here 100 marks. All the colleges, whether it comes in autonomous or universities or PG, UG, it's same, it's 100. Okay. Then seventh criteria, institutional values and best practices. 7.1, institutional values and social responsibilities, best practices. 7.3, institutional distinctiveness. Okay. So in all these sectors, this carries 100, 100, 100 marks. So total score for everybody, that is maybe universities or maybe autonomous college or UG, PG, okay, affiliated or constituent colleges, it's 1,000 marks. Okay, so total score it's 1,000 marks. In case of HEIs who exercise to opt for the weightage of less than or equal 3% of non-applicable metrics, the total score will vary accordingly. Okay, whereas U, that is nothing but applicable only for universities and autonomous colleges. A, applicable only for affiliated or constituent colleges. NA stands not applicable. Okay, so this is all about the 7 criteria, key indicators. Okay, hope you understood today's introduction about the NAAC and about the core values and 7 criteria. I, Dr. Pratibha KS, signing off for today. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos on our NAAC. Thank you everyone for watching.